Hello, this is Matt Singer. I'm the arts and culture editor at Willamette Week, and my guest today is Emma Berger. She is a Portland artist who started the mural that spread around the Apple Store downtown, right around the start of the protests for racial justice here in town. And she began with a portrait of George Floyd, and then other artists added to it, and it kind of became this enduring symbol, both nationally and locally, of the protests. And Emma, I know you've spoken to us before, but maybe you can sort of just reiterate what sort of compelled you to start that initial mural, and why did you choose the Apple Store downtown?
Um, I honestly, it was a spur of the moment decision at the time. I just wanted to do something. To all the protests were happening, and I wanted to protest, and that seemed the best way that I knew how to protest was to paint something. And I ended up, I used the Apple Store purely because they had painted the plywood black, and so it just seemed like this really good canvas. It wasn't really the placement or anything. It was just that they had seemed to have created a canvas for me to work on. And so that was why I picked that location. I had no idea it was going to become this, like, next to the, it's next to the Justice Building area. So I didn't know it was going to become this centralized location until later.
Yeah, because this was like June 1st, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So like really early on
Yeah.
in the protest. Um, and then, as I said, other artists started adding onto it, and filled in the rest of the blank space on there. Was that something that you wanted to happen or expected to happen?
Yeah, that was actually, for the most part, all the colored areas behind, that was actually a volunteer day that I actually led. I reached out to I know, a fair amount of people in Portland, and I just texted everyone under the sun asking if they'd want to come and volunteer to help paint the background. And then while that was happening, I also painted more faces up on the wall. So I actually did most of the portraits. A couple of the portraits were done by another artist, Sagan Newham. And then the background was done by just a huge variety of people. It was people off the street, people kind of come up and join, people that I had texted, people that they had texted. And it was this big volunteer movement. And the whole left side, that was a completely different artist that had done, they'd taken chalk and done like a big poem all across it. And then people kind of added to that over time. And then over more time, people painted over that part. But yeah, so it just ended up growing and growing. An artist named Skis and his assistant, Atlas, painted another portrait of Floyd around the side, which is more of a black and white image. And that one also was added to by a lot of artists. So it was just kind of over the course of a couple of days, just people just were adding to it like crazy. And at this point, I just say I began the mural, but I initiated it, but I didn't complete it. Everyone else kind of took that. So.
Right. And the reason we're talking to you today is because last week Apple announced that they were going to donate the panels to Don't Shoot PDX. But there was, a time, I think, when we spoke to you in the fall, where it was really unclear what was going to happen to them. I mean, you were almost expecting them, or thought that they could just get thrown out. Did you have any contact with Apple as a company, or did anybody from the company reach out to you at any point during this? And since you were like the main name, I guess, that was associated with the mural, did anyone ever contact you to like talk, hey, maybe we should do something with this, or was it just completely?
I have one contact in the Apple Store that would kind of let me know what was going on, but Apple never officially reached out to me. I actually eventually reached out to them, but I had already knew that the donation was happening. So I actually knew about the donation a while ago, but I just kind of didn't want to. I kept that to myself until it actually went through. I didn't want anything I said to mess it up, because I really do believe that it's going to a great cause and they're going to take care of it. But I had reached out to Apple to ask if they could help coordinate just me talking to Don't Shoot, because I had asked if I could do some restoration before it was presented somewhere. And they reached back and they said, thank you, but they're actually going to keep all of the tags that have happened since then as they are, because it just shows the historical marking of it and the historical context, which I actually think is great. I think that's a really good decision. But yeah, so no one ever reached out to me. I kind of finally did the reaching out myself. But I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay not being in the highlight of it. I think also, it's probably good for them politically not to talk to me, as I technically vandalized their building. But technically speaking. But yeah, but yeah, no one, I found out on my own who it was going to, and all of that. So.
And what does that mean for you? I mean, you've sort of, as we've kind of touched on, you've kind of, given up, or you're not really taking ownership completely of the mural, because it really became a community project. But what does it mean for you to know that this is going to kind of have like an enduring life?
It's weird. It's very strange to think that something that you created that really meant that, this huge momentous thing for you to kind of create this huge kind of, your own protest becomes a historical marker. And it's strange. I think I've dissociated a little bit from it, because I look at it now as this grand moment that happened, that I was a part of. But I think I never really saw it as mine. I kind of see it as like, I painted that, but it was never mine. I think I just started it. And so because of that, I'm just happy it's going to a home. And at the time, I didn't know if it was going to get thrown out, or if it was going to get painted over, like what was going to happen to it. And so it's very, very cool to have it be saved in this way, and very, very strange to have it be saved in this way. And I like still being noted as the originator of it, because it's cool. But I think I've dissociated a lot from it being my piece. I think for me, it's become many people's piece, and it's become a symbol for a lot of people. And I just happen to have started that. But yeah, it's weird. I'm going to go with weird. Good, but weird.
Right. So Don't Shoot hasn't really sort of divulged what exactly they're going to do with the panels as of yet. What do you hope they do with it?
What do I hope? I hope that it gets put somewhere that the public can still see it. Because I think that having it up somewhere, even if it's hidden away, it becomes this hidden away thing that, like so much of, we get to kind of forget about something that happened, because it's not in our faces anymore. And I hope that it is put somewhere that is someplace. I hope it's put somewhere that can be seen regularly by not just those paying for a ticket, or those that are intentionally going to see it. Because I think it's become a symbol for a lot of people in that way. And I think I would have it out somewhere. But that being said, it's plywood and it can't hold up to that much weathering, so it's tricky. But I would like it to be able to be accessed by the public, and able to be seen freely. I don't know if that's actually possible, or if that's what they'll do. They haven't told me at all what they're doing with it. I did ask, but no one told me. But I'm hoping that happens, and that it doesn't just get filed away.